Good for her.
I know you've been following closely, but the big, beautiful bill passed this week, at least through the first house of our wonderful Congress. Hey, we got like an advantage in the Senate too. We'll see if it makes it through that unscathed. I'm sure it'll be altered in some ways. It seemed like the core of the bill was taking some people's Medicaid away and taking money away from poor people and giving it to rich people. But then at the bottom, and I literally mean at the bottom of the graph I saw, it was remove tax stamp from suppressors. And I was like, oh, how'd we get that in there? And I'm almost on board now.
There is one part of it where they can no longer hold presidents in contempt of court. And I was
it wasn't exactly that, but it was like when they're held in court, there's no way to enforce any will upon them. It was essentially making him immune to some of his current legal hurdles with his immigration stuff.
And they slipped it into the tax bill, and it felt dirty. It is dirty.
That to me is just politics. Now, the nature of the amendment itself, I get, feels dirty, but just the nature of slipping it in is just fucking Washington politics.
It's certainly not something new. Like, it's not a new technique, but the idea of your president being above the law is... I don't like it, and to the listener, if you do like it, you may not like it when there's a Democrat involved.
He'll never let that happen again.
Yeah, this is not going to be the world's last president of America. There will be a Democrat again someday, and he'll be immune from the law, and you might think, that was stupid.
I see he also did something with Harvard today. I believe he wants the names of all of their foreign students, and he won't allow them to accept anymore, or maybe he's sending some of the foreign students back where they came from. Just a crazy situation.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's taking on Harvard, because I don't know that there's another school better equipped to hit back, right? Like Harvard has the largest endowment fund. They have the
billions.
They're basically no budget on their own attorneys, and their name isn't fragile. It's not like Trump can just ruin Harvard's name. Like, I hear it and I'm like, what, Harvard reject Trump? Is that why he went to UPenn? Is that what we got going on here? Now he's after revenge? Maybe I made that up, but it could be true. But yeah, so Harvard's pushing back. It's kind of a free speech issue. Trump doesn't think that non-citizens should have free speech, I would argue. And we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, he barred them from enrolling foreign students.
They say that's a privilege, and they removed that privilege from Harvard. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's a new one to me. Although I will say, I don't like when I see all the Chinese people who come here and get their education and go back home and use it. I don't like that. And maybe if they got their education at some sort of business, but they're going to Harvard, this place with this multi-billion-dollar a year endowment, who don't need the money. Frankly, they should be dropping their tuition like to zero. Why do they charge for tuition there at that place with this multi-billion-dollar endowment, and presumably a student base that is the best of the best of the best, or their uncle was at least? Like, the fuck's going on? I don't know. Fair is fair to me, and I don't like it. I don't like most of that stuff. I looked at the whole bill. I was like, don't like that, don't like that. Ooh, this is awful. Why are they all agreeing? And then I got to the bottom, and I saw that suppressor thing, and then I was on board.
On the Harvard thing and foreign students, I'm like, someone try to convince me one way or the other. I need more facts. On one hand, like you said, I have that same thought. Like, why are we educating these people to more or less compete with us? And then they go back and they become the leaders of their whatever. Or maybe we're exporting our culture and we're making people who are sympathetic to Americans. And it's a net positive to have thought leaders who went to school.
Osama bin Laden went to school here.
You're proving my point, right? This is a guy who took great interest in America.
Yeah. It's true. He was laser focused on America there for a while. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like that, especially when it's China. Look, that whole bill, the big beautiful bill, that's horse shit. It's plain horse shit. His crypto scam, horse shit. But seems like he came up with a very lucrative tariff situation with the UK, if that's gone through. And it seems like he came out of the Middle East with about $1.5 trillion in arms sales. like he and plane sales. He did like hundreds of. It was an enormous amount of arms
I never
that he
trust
sold.
his numbers at all.
They're public. Those are real numbers, though. Like
Okay.
When he says it, throw it out the window. He said Biden had stage 9 cancer. I know what he means, but he missed his number. You know.
Mm-hmm. He said that Qatar. I think it's Qatar. I don't know.
Pick one. We won't laugh. You can't say Chipotle.
Yeah, right. No, I say it better than everyone else.
You think they have Chipotles in Qatar?
He said that they gave him 5.1 trillion. Right? Their
crazy.
GDP is less than 1 trillion, right? But they're
over a number of years, maybe perhaps. You know what he also got? He got.
Don't wash it. It's just a lie.
You know, he's got a $5.5 billion golf course that they've built over there, and another like $1.5 billion one in maybe Scotland or something like that.
I heard that he got deals and towers and such, but I had no specifics.
Yeah. So I think the one
for a golf course.
The $5.5 billion one
seems like that. What is that? Like going to be like a 96 hole course?
So it's an 18 hole and a 9 hole. I think, and there's like tons of facilities. And I believe I read that their 9 hole par 3 was like the best one in the world. I don't know shit about golf, but I know what those numbers mean. $5.5 billion golf course. My understanding is that they own everything, but it's a Trump licensed property. So he's getting some ungodly like royalty fees or trademark fees or what have you for it being a Trump property there. And then another one in Scotland that's like $1.5 billion.
It's got to be cheaper in Scotland because Scotland has lots of grass. Like it grows on its own. It's got a good environment for grass. You build a giant golf course in Qatar, like just keeping grass there.
You don't think they can afford water in Qatar?
Well, I bet they can, but the grass is going to
helicopters.
They don't force the grass to grow at gunpoint because it doesn't want to there.
That's the only argument for EVs that I even want to hear is that we'll turn those fucking people's money faucet off one day. One day it'll all run out, and I'm looking forward to that day. I hate those people so much, Taylor.
Wait, who do we hate? I'm lost. EVs?
Just the whole Middle East, really. I mostly saw not a big fan of Saudi Arabia. Not a big fan of them. You know, like
I like
how many there was like 15 hijackers, maybe 16. 9 of them, I think, came from Saudi Arabia. If it's not like bad, it's even worse.
Out of 19.
It was like 15 out of 19. Yeah, thank you. You're almost spot on. Almost certainly spot on. And it was funded by a Saudi Arabian. Osama bin Laden's from Saudi Arabia. The Pakistanis were fucking hiding him, and yet we make wars with the other countries. It never made any sense to me to be mad at. Look, Iran's a bunch of cocksuckers. They fund terrorism across the globe. Not a big fan of Saddam Hussein and his ilk. But Jesus Christ, they were like 5th on the list and 6th. We should have started with Saudi Arabia, and we should have you want to talk?
Taken all the oil.
Just taking all the or fucking nuke their oil fields so they could irradiate all the Saudi oil. You want to talk about upturning that goddamn cartel they have? Nuke their oil and make it radioactive so it can't be pumped out of the ground.
The thing about taking all their oil is apparently it's really, really hard to occupy somebody else's country. You know, whether it be Afghanistan, America's effort, or Russian effort, Vietnam, Iraq, Syria more recently. Like it just seems like you can't occupy someone else's country, even if you're the greatest government military in the world.
I would not try to occupy it. You just need to
if you want to take their oil.
I don't want to take their oil. I want to destroy. I want to ruin their oil. I want to irradiate their oil so it can't be pumped or used. I want to destroy them. They should have paid such a. I swear to God, if our president, it's not even hyperbole, I would have glassed Saudi Arabia. I would have. I'd have nuked their capital and made sure I got we'd have been hunting down that royal family like it was Game of Thrones and they were the last Starks. All right. We'd have gotten every one of them, the cousins, the uncles, the aunties, all of them. And I don't care about Syria.
Honestly, it's a little bit inspiring to hear this. I'm still mad about 9/11.
The Chinese and the Russians would have seen what we did to the Saudis, our half-ass ally, and they'd have never stepped out of line again. I would have made an example that would last 1,000 years. There would be so much. It's a sand-filled desert. I'd have made it so shiny that you could see it from space with the naked eye. It'd be that big green. It looked like the bottom of a Coke bottle where they used to live. Fuck those people. Those people.
Aren't we their number one customer?
Probably.
Yeah.
Then we'd have to
pump
pivot.
more oil. No, we
have
just
to
pump
pump
more
more.
oil, and we actually build the Keystone Pipeline. We've got plenty. We have most of it here. I
We
know
didn't
that
have
it's not
fracking
the
tech at the
sweet
time,
crude.
It's
It's not that good old fat. It's not that good sweet crude. I know that, but I don't
all
give a fuck.
Venezuela's.
We'd have
Venezuela has
switched-
the most resources of oil in the whole world.
I would have
You just
pivoted
pilfer all
to
that.
fucking bicycle paths if that's what it took. I don't care what it does to anybody or anything. There would have been a reckoning. I don't like that cocksucker in Syria is an Al Qaeda head chopper from Iraq, and Trump's posing for photos with him. And on the other side of Trump is the fucking crowned prince of Saudi Arabia or Qatar or whoever the fuck he is with that goofy sheet on his head. That's the guy that had that Khashoggi guy.
Is his name MBS or something?
He had that guy vivisected. He had that guy vivisected in a hotel room and dissolved in acid and recorded it. And we got all the tapes and we know all about it. And we didn't do shit. Fuck those.
Vivisected and dissolved in acid.
Yes. They
Which
had him
one
cut
would you
apart
want to
alive.
happen first? To you?
I mean, man.
Those are both rough.
The acid was to dispose of him, I think, but the vivisection was to like cut him apart slowly with saws and alive.
They
I
did
don't
that
know how long it
alive?
takes to die. in
Yes,
acid.
they cut him apart with saws alive.
Oh, I might have made this up, but I thought that the saws were to just help. Also part of the disposal.
That's how they killed him.
That is part of that's what the Sopranos would have taught me, is that you know, one in the back of the head, and then it takes fucking forever. So you got to chop it up. Kind of like, you want your onions diced more finely so they brown faster.
You got to pull the teeth and shave the hair, that for the sake of the piggy's digestion, because you don't want to go sieving through pig shit. Now, do you, boyo?
I bet it takes way longer to die in
He
acid.
hasn't seen the movie.
I've seen them.
What movie?
It's that gangster movie. It's the Godfather.
Touché.
It's the Godfather
Busted.
1. No, it didn't happen in Godfather 1. I've seen Godfather 1. Oh, and now he's
Kyle quit the show. He couldn't take one more second.
One more second of
Taylor
me
to watch
not knowing a
movies.
fucking movie.